Odinism. What is Odinism? Am I an Odinist? Well, after giving it some thought, I've decided that Odinism is one of those things that, like nationalism or anarchism or being a skinhead, is one of those things that does describe me, but has been so overused by idiots that it's become a bad word. Because no group of morphemes has any meaning in and of itself. Words only have the meaning that we ascribe to them. So these words have become negative. Like, take anarchism, for instance. The original Greek word from which anarchism is derived means to be against all archons, which is the abstract things that rule people's lives. And I am against most archons. I very much dislike governments, pretty much any kind of large organization with a leadership outside of the direct membership. Even though I am heathen, I do not like the AFA, I do not like the Theod, and I do not like the Troth, because I do not like organized religion. And I believe heathenry is by definition a disorganized religion. And even though my religion is very important in my life, I believe that government, in as much as it needs to exist at all, needs to be secular. So, I am by definition an anarchist. But I don't like to use the word anarchist because it conjures up images of liberal lifestylist communists who don't know a goddamn thing about how the real world works and like to set off bombs in front of orphanages. Like the goddamn Crime Think Collective. Like, I have a few of their books. I think they're good books. Like, they have a lot of good advice on how to be self-sustaining and urban survival skills, but they aren't anarchists. They're a bunch of goddamn communists. And as far as I'm concerned, the collective is about as big an archon as you can get. So even though I do fit the definition of an anarchist, I don't like to use that word. As Professor Tolkien said, I'm something of an anarchist in that I believe in the abolition of control rather than bespectacled men with bombs. And nationalism. I'm very elitist, in case you haven't noticed. Like, even though I am very disenchanted with how fucked up America is today, still I care about Americans a lot more than any other people in the world. And I care about my personal, I guess you'd say, clan, more than I do other Americans. I do believe that the American experiment is one of the greatest things to ever happen in human history, and that for a time America was the greatest country on earth. And yet, America still pretty much is the greatest country on earth, even if that only means it's the least worst. except maybe Switzerland. So yes, I believe in American exceptionalism and American supremacy. I am a nationalist. But nationalism, calling yourself a nationalist, makes you sound like a Nazi. And nobody hates Nazis more than me. Same with being a skinhead. I am a working class, tough guy punk who listens to reggae and finds black chicks very attractive. That makes me a skinhead. But once again, nobody hates Nazis more than me. It's one of those things that is a perfectly acceptable word, a perfectly acceptable concept behind the word, which has been distorted by idiots. Which brings me back to Odinism. Now, what is an Odinist? An Odinist is a heathen who An Odinist is a heathen who devotes himself to Odin almost to the point of being monotheistic. And generally, heathens are very comfortable with their polytheism. And really, the only people who seriously call themselves Odinists are Nazi true. And like I said, nobody hates Nazis more than I do. But that being said, this is a definition that I fit as well. Maybe it's because I was raised to be a monotheist, so my children are probably going to be a lot more comfortable with their polytheism. Because of course I'm going to raise my children to be heathen. I'd be a goddamn idiot if I didn't. So I'm an Odinsman, and while I do gloat to the other gods on occasion, I do give them the respect they deserve. Odin is the only one I really work with. Like, to use Kveldolf Gunderson's analogy of the gods are like kings while the landlights are like village strongmen. While I respect the other gods, Odin is my god. And, like, Odin is my chief and I am his oath. And I think that makes me an Odinist. But once again, it's a word that I don't like to use because people are goddamn stupid. And every time somebody has a good idea, like anarchism or nationalism, these goddamn idiot lifestylists come in and poison the whole thing for everyone. Which is why I don't call myself an Odinist, even though I pretty much am one. That's all I got to say. Bye.